I'm finally back home from the Pokemon Go Unova tour in Los Angeles, and what an amazing weekend that was. So many memories made with a lot of you guys and a lot of my friends from around the world that I will never forget. I had a lot of fun. However, I think there are some conversations that need to be had, and I have some things to say about this Unova tour in Los Angeles and about Pokemon Go in general, and we're going to get into that right now. I'm going to break down the entire Unova tour event and talk about what I liked, disliked, and what I thought it was really missing overall, because it did feel like the worst tour event we've had out of the last couple of years. The Sinnoh tour last year, amazing. The Hoenn tour, also amazing. This, not so much. I really appreciated it being an extra day long. Who doesn't love an extra day of Pokemon Go? So it being a 3-day event was very fun. Of course, we had the debut of Black and White Kyurem and Pokemon Go, which were super fun. The raids were going all weekend long. People were raiding the heck out of them. It was great, and there was plenty of them to do. They gave out the new energy to get the new fusion Pokemon again, Black Kyurem and White Kyurem. We did the fusions. It was really cool. Plus, we got the new attacks, Freeze Shock and Ice Burn. At the time, we had no idea if we were going to get adventure effects with these Pokemon, and we didn't hear anything about it until the event was over, because they added adventure effects for Black and White Kyurem. If you guys want to see about that and learn about it, I just made a TikTok and an Instagram video, so go check it out on my Instagram and TikTok. But we have new adventure effects, and they're kind of awesome for these Pokemon, so that is a huge W, but that did happen after the Unova tour, so I don't know. I wouldn't count it as part of the Unova tour. That was kind of afterwards, but these Pokemon coming to the game, very exciting, very cool. People were hyped about it, and they look awesome. I want to talk about this, the Shiny Meloetta research. They shouldn't have advertised it like that, because Shiny Meloetta was impossible to get that weekend, because if you guys saw the research, there is a stage where you need to catch over 100 Pokemon of the first 5 generations in Pokemon Go. And guess what Pokemon were spawning this weekend? Only the Pokemon from Generation 5. So like, you know, it makes it really hard to get Shiny Meloetta. Nobody at the event actually got Shiny Meloetta because you needed to catch so many different Pokemon that were not spawning and won't be spawning for a few days now until this whole Unova tour craziness is over. I know we're not meant to speed run this special research, but it was kind of weird having to catch other Pokemon from other generations to even progress. It was just weird. That was kind of an L in my opinion. Shiny Deerling debuted. There was 4 different versions of it. That was exciting, but they're pretty hard to find, to be honest, in the wild. We'll talk about the spawns more throughout this video, but Deerling were pretty rare, and I guess that's fine because they are the new shiny. Speaking of new shinies, Shiny Maractus, Sigilyph, and Bouffalant debuted in 10km eggs. Totally okay with how they debuted. A lot of people managed to get them. 10km eggs were everywhere. That was pretty fun and solid. New location backgrounds were fun, but the raids seemed way harder than they've ever been. I did so many gosh darn raids this weekend, and it took me forever to get a location background. So yeah, that's cool. The snapshots, you had 12 snapshots a day of these 4 costume Pikachu. Listen, that's 36 extra chances at a really rare shiny costume Pokemon, so that was actually pretty cool. There was exclusive party play bonuses that rewarded you with Throw, Sock, Heatmor, and Durant. I personally didn't really care for that, but I know that those are pretty rare regional Pokemon for a lot of people out there, so that's okay. I don't think anybody on the planet does routes, so we're gonna skip over that. This was pretty cool. I didn't get to enjoy this. There were special event Pokestops at metro stations in the area, and they rewarded these Pokemon as shadow Pokemon. So Shadow Roggenrola, Drillbur, Timber, Joltik, Litwick, and Golett were available. And they do have the shiny logo on them. I wonder if they're available as Shadow Shiny. Plus, for the first time ever, you could get 12km eggs from grunts, not the leaders. And they had Sandile, Mindfu, Pawniard, and Volibee. Pretty solid 12km egg pool. But let's talk about the spawns for this event. So obviously we had the 4 habitats, the winter, spring, summer, and autumn, right? The habitats on their own were fine. Personally, I didn't really care for many of these Pokemon, but there were some solid ones. I mean, Drillbur was there, Axew, the new Deerling, and then, you know, there were some solid ones. We had some regionals. We had Pansage, Panseer, Panpour. That was cool. So the Pokemon that were spawning were pretty cool, but I do feel like there was a lot of Pokemon from Generation 5 that weren't featured in this event, and that was kind of sad to see. But more importantly about the spawns, there weren't enough of them, in my opinion. And I know I've been spoiled in the past. I've gone to Go Fests and tours around the world, but it just felt like this event was very spread out. And if you guys saw the adventures, the park was massive and things were really spread out. And I understand why they do that. It helps with the cellular service and whatnot, and helps you explore the park. But man, it felt like the spawns were a bit scarce at some point, and I was like really itching to find something spawning because I had to walk a good amount of time to get there, and it wasn't super spawn friendly in my opinion. I don't know, that could have just been me, but I feel like I heard the same things from other people, and the spawns were, again, pretty okay. I just feel like I wanted more. We also had the costume Pikachu and Druddigon in the wild. That was nice. I was able to snag all of those. Very happy about that. I felt the unknown were barely spawning. I had my incense on for all 3 days at all times, and I did not catch a lot of unknown at all. So this was kind of a bummer. Also, what is this excluding the daily incense thing that they always add in? That just makes zero sense and is a layer of difficulty for them to code that is like annoying. I don't know. This bothers me. It's not really a big deal, but it just bothers me. Like, why not? In terms of the eggs, I thought they were solid overall. The 10-kilometer eggs, like I mentioned, very good. 5 kilometers, I understand. I don't think we need 2-kilometer eggs for this event. Nobody cares really about those 4 Pokemon. They've all had community days. But yeah, I think they've all had community days, if I'm not tripping. Rock and rollin', maybe not. But Larvesta, man, I thought this was the event I could get shiny Larvesta. I hatched probably over maybe 200 eggs this weekend, and I think I got 2 or 3 Larvesta overall. So it didn't feel like there was any kind of boosted odds there. They still made it super rare to get, and I didn't really appreciate that. Let's talk about the raids. The 1-star raids, honestly, I do not remember seeing a single one of these raids at any point throughout the weekend. I don't know if they scrapped it or what, but I don't remember seeing them, and they probably should have scrapped it because no one's gonna raid that. 3-star raids were Druddigon. That's cool, but like, it was already in the wild. I feel like they could have added more to the raid pool there if they were gonna add those Pokemon. And most importantly, the 5-star raid. Reshiram, great time. Zekrom, great time. And the Kyurem, of course, were all great. They were all shiny eligible, all useful Pokemon, and all were eligible. You had a chance to get the location card. It was hard to get, but it was out there, and the 5-star raids I thought were great. I really disliked the research. This was the worst research I've seen for a big Pokemon Go live event in a while, maybe ever. The only thing worth doing was transfer 10 Pokemon because it was quick and easy, and everything else required you to power up Pokemon. Niantic, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to spend Stardust. It is the hottest commodity. It is the currency of Pokemon Go. It is tough to obtain. It is useful to have. I don't want to spend it on an encounter. Nobody likes to power up 5 times. I would have rather had explore 5 kilometers, and I'm sure you guys would have wanted that too. Power up a Pokemon 5 times is a no-go. Let's never do that again. I know it gave out the costume Pikachu and the new shiny Deerling, but I could not get myself to go power up Pokemon 5 times this whole weekend. I did it on the first day, and I didn't have a lot of luck, and I realized I spent so much dust, and it wasn't worth it. Also, this whole thing, extra small, extra large, increased chance from research. Yeah, right. I don't know if I got a single one that was extra small or large out of any of the research. Yeah, I just didn't feel like it. I also want to talk about this, the Enigma field research. This is a big talking point for me. This was awesome. One of the coolest things they've ever done, but it wasn't available at the event. Not even one stop. Like, what? I understand it's a tour event. You want people to explore the city and whatnot, but how are you not gonna let the people at the event enjoy this too? I was really looking forward to these research tasks, but I didn't want to leave the Rose Bowl. I didn't want to leave the event where the epicness with the festivities were all happening, and I had to in order to get this, and I felt like that was really whack because I wanted to enjoy this. All you had to do was catch 10 different species of Pokemon, and you got all of these Pokemon with guaranteed special backgrounds, and they were all shiny eligible. I mean, you can literally get a shiny Boldore encounter. Yeah, you heard that correctly. You can get a shiny Darmanitan encounter, Sigilyph, Sandile. These are going to be some of the rarest shinies in Pokemon Go moving forward because the Enigma stops as of right now might not ever come back. They had special backgrounds. They were shiny eligible. I mean, a shiny Sigilyph and a Egyptian regional Pokemon with all of that is crazy. This looked like a lot of fun. I know I could have gone out of my way and go spun some stops, but I just didn't want to. I wanted to be at the event. Plus, there was no way to tell where these stops were at other than looking online and on Twitter and Discord and whatnot for people that made maps. Like, you really had to go out and hunt to go find these stops. And who wants to do that in the middle of their play day? Not me. I didn't do any. That was whack, man. Speaking of whack, for the first time in, I think, the entirety of Pokemon Go tours, I can't remember if the Kanto Tour had them or not, we didn't have roaming legendaries. Last year, we had Azelf, Uxie, and Mesprit. The year before that, we had Latios and Latias. The year before that, we had the legendary beasts. And this year, we get nothing in the wild. No wild legendaries. And that was a huge problem because it really felt like this was a glorified event or a glorified community day spectacular because there was nothing that really felt super special in the wild. You had unknowns if you were lucky, and then there was just a bunch of Pokemon. Pokemon, and there were no legendaries. I have no idea why they took that away. It was arguably the most fun thing about the in-person Go Tour events. There were no wild legendaries. If you wanted to get these legendaries, they were featured in timed research that you got from spinning Pokestops that were like all around the park, which took a long time to get and a long time to find. This was a huge L in my opinion. I hated this. Everyone was like, where's the legendaries? For a generation that has so many different legendaries and mythicals to choose from, why did we not get any? Why did we only get a handful of them featured? It was so whack, man. Ugh, that really bothered me. And speaking of things that bothered me, this special research, the tip of the iceberg research, was incredibly forgettable. I mean, I don't know, man. First of all, the encounter was a Patrat on the first stage. And am I being too harsh? What are we doing? Why are we getting a Patrat encounter? Like, why? What is that? I don't know, man, but that's disgusting. And then the rest of it, you got an incense, whatever path you chose. You got candies, Pikachus, and little goodies, and you ended it with a Zorua. Listen, it was cool. I mean, it was free, I guess, if you want to count it as free, but it was just kind of whatever. I feel like it could have been better, man. Could have been better. And again, here is the Shiny Meloetta research where you had to catch all of these Pokemon, and you could only really work on this and a little bit of this during the events. Pretty whack, in my opinion. We have not seen past stage 2 because you have to catch Pokemon for 3 weeks, so we'll see what that's all about, but I really dislike this. This just kind of sucked. However, the Tour Pass got released, and that was super fun. I enjoyed it. I flew through it. They made it really easy, and you got a lot of goodies out of here. And of course, the big thing was we ended with the Lucky Trinket, the brand new item in Pokemon Go. We got to see it firsthand early and use it, where you could use it on your friend and get a guaranteed lucky trade. This was amazing. What isn't amazing is that it expires. Why does it expire? You work your butt off to get it, and it expires? Not everybody has people to trade with readily available. Not everybody has somebody in their community. I understand you want people to go make friends and make a community and all that, but you can't expect people to just have people to trade with. Some people play on their own. Some people don't have a community. Some people aren't mobile, you know? Why have it expire? Doesn't make sense. I love the idea of this, but don't make it expire, man. It was nice to have 210 more ranks that just helped you claim a bunch of dust. That was extra, and I appreciated it. This is a map of the event. As you can see, it is absolutely massive. I mean, this is an entire stadium, so if you could just scale the rest of it, you can tell how big this park really was. This is the parking area. We walked in here, stadium where you could play in, and then you had all this area to play in here, all this area here, and all the way here, man. That was so far away. And again, if you wanted to get those special Pokestop spins to get the legendary Pokemon, you had to go like all the way back in this corner, then all the way back in this corner. You really had to move, and not everybody can move like that, so I didn't really love that. Also, the notable trainer meet and greet. Why were we tucked into this corner? I'm really appreciative to have done that. That was a beautiful moment. It was nice to meet all of you guys and see some old friends and be a part of that, and I really do appreciate that. And again, thank you to Niantic for sponsoring me for this event, but it was just so far out of the way, and it was in the same place last year. I thought they would move it. It was too far, and I just make it like in the stadium or something, you know? But I get it. They want to spread people out. They want people to go and explore. It was far, all right? But I will say this was a beautiful event to play at. The views were crazy. The mountains looked beautiful. The sky was beautiful. It was nice and sunny out. The area is really nice. This was a beautiful place. I love the stadium, the history there, the little stuff and habitats they throw around. Big fan. It was just big. Too big. And that was the event as a whole, but there's a lot more I want to talk about. More specifically, and I kind of touched on it a little bit, there was a lot of Pokemon from Generation 5 that we didn't get to see, and I thought that was really whack. There was a point where they wanted to take a big photo and get a bunch of trainers together, so they put a bunch of raids, like I think it was like 7 or 8 raids, all in a circle, randomly on the second day of the event with a timer on it, and there were no timers on raids that whole weekend, so we all gathered around like, uh-oh, what is this gonna be? Is it gonna be Keldeo raids? Is it gonna be is it gonna be the genie raids? What's it gonna be? The eggs counted down, and after 20 minutes of waiting, after hundreds of people waiting around, it was just more Kyurem raids, and the whole crowd groaned. I got a great clip of that in the video, but it was just, man, you know, like there were so many missed opportunities with this event, and I feel like they could have featured so many more Pokemon for a pretty large generation. I feel like there wasn't enough variety, and again, the legendary spawns not being in the wild just kind of really sucked. It was so fun to hunt those last year. You want people to walk around, you want people to explore, throw some legendaries in the wild, man. It's not like they're guaranteed catches. They were dang near impossible, but that was a really big missed opportunity. Again, I had a great time this weekend. I just think there was a lot of things that could have gone better and could have been done differently, and hopefully are done differently for future Pokemon Go events. And it's important I make a video like this and we voice our opinions in a fair way to spread awareness, get the word out there, and hopefully see some changes in the future. Speaking of the future, let's talk about the future of Pokemon Go. Just a few days before the Pokemon Go Unova tour, there was an article that was put out that pretty much stated that Pokemon Go is being sold to a Saudi Arabia company by $3.5 billion. Massive deal, huge article, went super viral. I made a video on it if you guys want to see a deep dive and hear my deep thoughts on it. But the information on that article made it sound like Niantic is going to be selling Pokemon Go in the near future. And I want to comment on that. After going to the Unova tour and after experiencing that Unova tour and seeing how much Niantic really does care about their game, I know we like to meme on it and say all these things on the internet and all that. If you've gone to a real Pokemon Go live event, you can vouch for me. They do put a lot of effort into it. Could they put more? Sure. Could they do things better? Of course. But they do put a lot of effort into it. And from what I was able to gather and tell and feel, really just feel this weekend with the community, with the environment, with the entire event as a whole, I don't feel like this game is going anywhere anytime soon. And I don't feel like Niantic is going to make any crazy decisions that we're apparently hearing about, because it just didn't feel like that. It felt like they were still moving strong. We have so much momentum. We have a huge summer ahead of us. We have safari zones. We have 3 Go Fest. I mean, there's so much happening. Let me know how you feel about this. But for me, it just didn't feel like this game was on the way out. It didn't feel like Niantic was trying to like pass this game down or pass it over. It feels like they still care and they're still trying and they're still trying to make it good. Granted, I know there's a lot of complaints I had today, but I did give the game its flowers. There was a lot of cool stuff with this event, and overall, again, I really did enjoy it, and I really do appreciate the community and appreciate everybody out there that makes this game work, because it's a beautiful thing. I met so many of you from around the world of all ages. I'm talking children, teenagers, adults. I've met them all, men, women, from everywhere around the world. I met a lot of different people, and it was beautiful to see the experiences that we have with this game and to share that with each other, to be in one common area and just share this love and passion for a game and what it's meant to us and our lives and our time here on this earth, man. It was a beautiful thing. Yeah, I don't even know where that was going with that. But this Pokemon Go event was great. It could have been a lot better. I had a great time. Just the in-game stuff was it's just not as good as it used to be. This was the worst tour that we've had out of the last 3 that we've had. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about it. Those are my honest thoughts. I feel like I touched on everything. A lot they can do better right here. A lot they could do better moving forward. But as it stands, I'm glad it happened and I'm excited. And if you guys haven't seen those adventures, go watch them, because I just dropped like 3 low-key instant classics that I know you're gonna love and appreciate. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about this tour, if you guys were there, or what you guys thought from just the viewing experience. Do you guys think I was valid with some of my points? Was I tripping? I really do want to hear your thoughts, because this is what makes things change. This is what makes things happen. Don't forget, we do have the Unova Tour Global this weekend for everybody out there in the world. Hopefully you guys go enjoy that, and hopefully you guys have a great time.